Another big win for South Dakota over the weekend and another top 10 victory on top of that as they get past North Dakota 14-10. And we bring in our good buddy Chris Strev to talk a little bit more about some of the big plays in that game, Chris. And obviously on a day where you only give up 10 points, only 3 of those allowed by the defense. Important to highlight those guys. And I thought the secondary really stood up. A couple of big plays in this contest, starting in the first quarter on a drive-killing interception from Shaheed Barrows.
Yeah, just an absolutely huge play. Like you said, UND threatening to extend their lead there in the first quarter, and Barrows comes up with a huge play. You can actually see pre-snap, UND comes out in what I call a nub set. So the tight end is the end guy on the line of scrimmage. And there's some communication that goes on between Barrows and the safety. They clearly recognize the formation, and that's a credit to them. Their film study, their coaching they got during the week to recognize that formation. So what UND does is they have a hard play action. They do a half roll with the quarterback. So he threatens like he's going to do a bootleg, and everyone kind of starts flowing one way with the quarterback, and the quarterback sets up hoping to throw the throwback route with the dude that was threatening to run across the field. And Barrows completely recognized it, sink right underneath it. The quarterback doesn't see the corner at all, and he makes an outstanding interception to stop that drive. And then later on in the game, Gaines with a massive sack. The UND is driving down into the red zone. They're on about the 20-yard line, getting into deep field goal position, and they come up with a huge sack to push them back to the 30-yard line. He's completely untouched on the quarterback's blind side, and UND ends up missing the field goal. So just a couple huge plays, like you said, by the defensive backs to get the ball back and stop UND from getting points on the board.
Yeah, that was a huge play because UND was threatening to extend the lead. That was after USD had scored the touchdown to get back within 10-7. UND chance to maybe go in and at least stretch that back to 6, and instead they missed the field goal, get nothing. Of course, we know what happens from there. Offensively, it was a big day for Aiden Bauman through the air. The running game struggled, so they needed Aiden to have a good day passing the football, and he did, and they were making some hay in the seams.
Yes, they were. So the seams are those landmarks right up the hashes, in between the hash and the numbers. And so what UND was doing throughout the day was they play a lot of cover 3. So there's 3 guys deep. And when teams play that, football 101 would tell you the seams are a great point to attack. And so they hit some big plays up the seams. And one of them was, I love the creative play calling. They put Tice on the wing at the end of the line of scrimmage and end up hitting him up the seam. And on this play, UND actually brings a corner cat, a corner blitz. And so they have one less guy in their zone coverage. So they end up dropping a defensive end. That's a guy that's typically not in coverage in these zone situations. So he kind of gets lost in the zone, and they end up with 2 guys in the same zone, which leaves a massive hole up the seam and a big play by Tice, and an unbelievable catch, a one-handed catch on his backside. And I just want to highlight some of the things that Tice did throughout the game. I mean, just showing his versatility. They split him out wide, had a massive catch at the end of the game on that drive, running up the seam, even allowed him to redeem himself, throw another pass this week after he missed that one in SIU. So I just love to see him continue to be involved in this offense. And then another massive seam they hit was to Galbraith later on in the game. He's running up the seam, and he kind of gets lost in the 4 verticals concept again. They're playing that cover 3 coverage. The safety's on the near boundary hash, and Aiden does a great job of moving him to the field a little bit with his eyes, takes a quick hitch off the play action, and hits that seam, hits that pass to Galbraith right up the seam. So again, just being able to attack those landmarks in cover 3 was obviously a big part of their game plan, and they had good success with it.
Yeah, that particular catch for Galbraith is what set up the Keandre Jones touchdown, first score of the day for USD, got it to 10-7. But the biggest drive of the day came at the start of the fourth quarter, Chris, and the Yotes had to overcome the chains not once but twice on this possession. They end up going 12 plays, 81 yards, but they had to do a little extra work to get there, and that was very important work as it proved to be.
Yeah, they had to overcome some adversity, and that's what this team's done, right? They had some adversity throughout the season. They tough loss versus SDSU, they respond. They respond to tough situations, being behind the chains on this drive. They respond, and that's something I've loved about this team. They don't get too down, and they just keep playing football. So they take a big sack on first down. It's 2nd and 24. They throw kind of a quick tight end screen to Galbraith, and he has an unbelievable individual effort. Breaks a couple tackles, gets upfield, gets him to a very manageable 3rd and 6. And on this 3rd down, UND comes out and they actually play cover 2. So this time there's 2 guys deep, and the middle linebacker is responsible for the middle of the field, which in this defense leaves a big hole in the middle, and that's one of the weaknesses of playing cover 2. And great job by Aiden, great play call. They recognize that, and they end up hitting Michaud on a nice short little dig route right in the middle of the field, and he catches a nice pass for a good first down there on 3rd and 6. And then Later on in the drive, they're back behind the sticks again. They get to another 3rd and 7. UND goes back to that same Tampa 2 coverage with the middle linebacker going to the middle of the field, and they're able to hit Galbraith on a nice little under route on 3rd and 7, breaks a tackle, gets the first down, which ultimately set up the go-ahead score late in the game. So love that play calling, love Aiden being able to take advantage of the cover 2, and guys making plays when the ball's in their hands.
Yeah, time and time again, we've seen Aiden in crunch time this season, when they really needed to put together a drive, Aiden has been able to do it. Now, some of these games of late haven't been perfect, certainly on the offensive side of things, but there's something to be said about making plays when they matter most in the game, and the Yotes have done that time and time again. It's a big reason, Chris, why they're 8-2 and 6-1 in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. But Bauman comes through 307 yards passing, 20 of 28. But how about this? He's 4 straight games now without a touchdown, and they've won 3 of those games.
Hey, they're winning football games, man. That's all that matters. It's not about the stats. It's about the wins and losses. So whatever they're doing is working. Let's keep it going in this final regular season game.
Yep, big one coming up against Western Illinois. We'll be back next week to wrap up that regular season finale, talk a little bit of postseason football as well, coming up on See It Like Strev.